Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
You are welcome to Fusion Mobile Learning Platform. I'm Olokode Pelumi by name, the Command Tutor. So in this class, we'll be looking at the topic nationalization. Also, be looking at privatization, commercialization, and also indigenization. So we have nationalization, indigenization, commercialization, and privatization. So we'll be looking at the meaning of nationalization, where we'll look at the advantages and disadvantages of nationalization. Also, we'll be looking at indigenization. Also, we'll be able to look at the advantages and disadvantages. Therefore, we are going to look at commercialization and privatization. Also, we'll be able to look at the advantages and disadvantages of commercialization and privatization. So the first thing we have is the meaning of what nationalization. So nationalization actually shows the what it shows the deliberate policy. So it's the policy made by the government to take over the control and ownership of private industries or private properties and put it under its exclusive ownership or under its exclusive rights. So whenever the government take over the private owned industries under its and put it under its own control and ownership, we refer this to as what nationalization. And government can take over such an industry for political reasons, for economic reasons or social reasons, or for strategic reasons. Those are the reasons why government might take over a privately owned industries. So any industry that is being nationalized by the government becomes a nationalized industry. It becomes a nationalized industries. So when talking about nationalization, we have a lot of different reasons why the government nationalize industry. Maybe for strategic reason. So maybe for strategic reason, that is to ensure that the industries is not maybe the industries is not being run by some foreigners, you understand, by all blood businessmen, to ensure that there's some particular strategic aspect of business, strategic industries that should not be taken or put in the hands of industry. So, or private individual, what happens? Government will take such an industry for strategic reasons, and maybe in form of in form of security. So that be security conscious. So government have to take over such an industry because such an industry must not be put in the hands of private individuals. And also, government can take over or can nationalize a particular industry in order to prevent exploitation, to prevent exploitation or to ensure that consumers are not being exploited by unscrupulous businessmen. And also, government can also take over a particular industry for political reasons. What will happen? A particular industry might be nationalized. And also, government can also nationalize a particular industry for in order to prevent or to avoid foreign dominance of the economy. To ensure that foreigners do not dominate the economy, government can take over a particular industry, so be owned by private individuals. And also, government can also take over a particular industry to ensure that there is no interrupted supply of goods and services, or to ensure uninterrupted services to the consumer or to the people or to the citizens. So next thing we are going to look at is talk about the advantages and disadvantages we have to derive from nationalized industries. So from nationalization, so if a particular industry is being nationalized, what are the advantages we are going to derive there? So and also, if it is being nationalized, what are the disadvantages that can be derived from such a nationalization? So first thing we have the advantages. We also have the disadvantages. So the advantage is that it helps to check exploitation. So through nationalization, what happens? Exploitation of consumer is being checked by private individual, and also it ensures steady supply of services. To ensure that there is steady supply of services to prevent uninterrupted services to the consumer, and also help to generate employment opportunities. So what will happen? Each government should nationalize a particular industry. What will happen? That brings more employment opportunities. That generates more employment opportunity, because especially if the nationalized industry is not being effectively controlled by private individuals, because it requires large capital, the government will be able to provide such a capital, and also what provide what employment opportunity to the populace. The next thing we have is that it ensures equitable distribution of resources. So it helps to ensure that equitable distribution of resources, that okay, that resources is not what is not being that the resources of the country is not be congested in the hands of few individuals. So there will be evenly distribution of of resources in the country. There will be equitable distribution of resources. That okay, and people will be able to be able to satisfy also, and there will be a lot of employment in the countries. And again, it eliminates any form of monopoly, private monopoly. Tries to eliminate private monopoly, and also protection of strategic industries. So the strategic industry will be protected, because such an industry will be taken for strategic purposes or for a strategic reasons. So what happens from strategic industry will be protected, like form of military, you understand, the form of military intelligence and something like that. So such an industry will not be put in the hand of we have a lot of them, it will not be put in the hand of industry. So it helps in terms of private industry. So what happens? It helps to protect strategic industry in the economy. So the disadvantages we have to derive from nationalization is that, number one, prevention of private initiatives. Wow, the initiative of the private individuals will be is going to be prevented. So what happens? It's going to be killed. They are going to kill. So the word nationalization will not encourage private innovation, private discovery and private initiatives. So what happens? The private individual will not be able to initiate himself to build up his own business. So that's one of the disadvantages of nationalization. And again, another disadvantage of nationalization is that low productivity and inefficiency. We know that once government awards are nationalized such an industry, what happens? It will be controlled by government officials, by government officials rather. So since such an industry will be controlled by government officials, what happens? Inefficiency will comes in, and low productivity through corruption and a lot of other reasons, because they believe that okay, such an industry is not being owned by them, so by the government. So what happens? They won't put in their best. So that can lead to inefficiency in such an industries. So the next thing we have is that corruption and mismanagement. Wow, in the government officials do what? Mismanage nationalized industries. Social industry is owned by the government. What happens? There's mismanage social industries. So and also there will be a lot of corruptions. There's a lot of corruption in social industry by the officials. Well, we also have resources can be misallocated. So that is one of the disadvantages of nationalization. Now let's look at the differences between the nationalized industry and a public limited liability company. So what is the difference between the nationalized industry and the public limited liability company? So we'll be looking at it in the following ways. We'll be looking at it in the form of aim, capital, in form of control, and let's look at it in form of publication. The first thing we have in the form of aim. So okay, the difference between the nationalized industries and public limited liability company. So the aim of the nationalized industry is to provide essential services to the people. Since it is owned by the government, is to provide essential services to the populace, to the people of the country. While the aim of public limited liability company is to make profits for its shareholders, to make profit and also ensure maximum return on investment to the shareholders. And also capital. The capital is usually provided by the government. That is in form of nationalized industry. It's provided by the government. While the capital is provided by shareholders in form of in form of public limited liability company. Okay, next thing we have control. Wow, the business that is the nationalized industry is controlled by the government, by the board of directors appointed by the government. It's usually controlled by the board of directors, which are appointed by the government. And also public limited liability company is controlled by the board of directors also, but this is actually appointed by the shareholders. We also have publication. Wow, the nationalized industry are not required to publish their accounts. Why public limited liability company are required by law to publish their accounts. So these are the major differences we can see between the nationalized industry and the public limited liability company. The next one on the list we have indigenization. This actually means the transfer of ownership and control of foreign business to the indigenous. So whenever there is transfer of control and ownership of an industry, control and ownership of an industry or of a business from the foreigners to the indigenous refer to that as what? Indigenization. So what will happen? The foreign businesses in the country will be transferred to the indigenes of the country. So that will refer to as indigenization. So that will enable the indigenes also have what? Control of the business in the country. So that is what actually mean by indigenization. So I also have the advantages and disadvantages of what? Indigenization. So we're able to look at the advantages and disadvantages of indigenization. So these are the advantages and these disadvantages. So we have the advantages and disadvantages of indigenization. So the first one here is that it ensures indigenous participation. So it ensures that what? The indigenes of the country participate in the economic activities of the country. And also number two, we have development of local technology. Wow. Since it ensures indigenous participation, what happened? There will be development of local technology. People will be able to what? Develop themselves. So the indigenes of the country will be able to what? Develop themselves and also be initiatives and be able to what? To bring in more local technology and local inventions in the country. And also it reduces foreign control of the economy. So it helps to reduce foreign dominance of the economy and foreign control of the economy. And also it helps to ensure self-reliance. So what will happen? The economy will be a self-reliance economy, since there won't be foreign control of the economy. So what happen? Since the economy will be controlled by the indigene, what happens? So the economy will be a self-reliance one. And again, it helps to provide employment opportunities to the indigenes of the country. So what happens? The indigenes will be employed easily. And also it helps to improve the standard of living of the indigenes, since the indigenes will be provided with employment opportunities, and also they will be able to provide with some set of participation in the industry of the country. What happens? That helps to improve their standard of living. So we are able to look at the advantages and the disadvantages. The next thing is disadvantages of indigenization. So disadvantage includes discouragement of foreign investment. So it helps to discourage foreign investment into the country. So the policy actually was discouraged some form of foreign investment in the country. And number two, it can lead to disharmony between countries, since that actually discourage some aspect of foreign investment. What happens? There can be some disharmony, some disagreement between two countries, and also it can lead to capital flight, since what will happen? Investors will be chased away. There won't be foreign investment in the country. What happens? Such an investor will take such capital into another country and invest. So it can actually lead to capital flight. And also rich people can hijack the economy. What happens? Those aspects of indigenization might not be available to the indigenes themselves. What will happen? Those that are rich, the few rich individuals in the economy, can easily hijack the economy and put that economy into their exclusive control. So what happens? Rich people can also hijack the economy, and again, inexperience and incompetence can destroy the business. So those are maybe whenever the business is being indigenized or in the hands of the indigenes, a lot of people that are inexperienced and incompetent can take over the business, and that can lead to the fall of the business. So we are able to look at the advantages and disadvantages of indigenization. So next we are moving to is commercialization and privatization. So now let's look at commercialization and privatization. So commercialization is the policy which is geared as making public-owned enterprises to be more efficient and profit-oriented. So it is policy actually made to ensure that the public enterprises are more efficient, and they are profit-oriented. And the reason why for having commercialization is to ensure that the public government-owned enterprises are able to generate more profits or generate more revenue for the government, and also to ensure that such public enterprises are operated with enough efficiency. Now let's go to the term privatization. Privatization is a policy which ensures the transfer of public-owned enterprises, that is government-owned enterprises, to private individuals. So it is taken over of the government-owned enterprises to private individuals. So it is when the private individuals take over the control and ownership of public-owned enterprises. So that what I mean by the word privatization. So a privatized industry will now be taken over by the private individuals of the country. So there will be a lot of reasons why why there will be privatization of what of some industries by private individuals. Maybe the public-owned enterprises are not efficient, and also they are not effective in their operations. So let's look at the advantages of commercialization and privatization. So these are the advantages of commercialization and privatization, and also disadvantages of commercialization and privatization. So number one, we have reduction in public expenditure. It promotes efficiency. It helps to generate more revenue to commercialization. Emergence of innovation. So since the enterprise will be controlled by the private individuals, what happen? There will be new innovations. So they know that since more firms will come to such an industry, there will be competition, and that brings about innovation in such an industries. So also there will be better choice by consumers. So consumers will be able to make choice since there will be a lot of firms in such an industry. Now again, we have disadvantages is that there will be poor standard of living, since what happened, the industry is no longer consumer oriented. The services are not usually provided at reduced cost. It's not being talking about by private individuals, which help to increase cost of production, cost of producing the goods, and cost of increase in price of the goods, which actually leads to poor standard of living in the country, and also it causes high cost of products. It causes high cost of products, and again is that reduction in employment. There will going to be reduction in employment, and again there will be uneven distribution of income in the country, in the economy. There will be uneven distribution of income, and also loss of consumer welfare scheme. So since public companies ensure since public enterprises or government-owned enterprises usually provide the welfare scheme, what will happen? Since immediately such an individual is taken over by private individual, there won't be any form of welfare scheme. So there will be loss of consumer welfare scheme, and also there will be reduction in employment. So since a lot of people will be sacked or will lose their job, immediately such an enterprises are being privatized. So in this talk, we have been able to look at the meaning of nationalization. We have been able to look at advantages and disadvantages of nationalization. We have been able to look at indigenization and advantages and disadvantages, and also we have been able to look at commercialization, the advantage of commercialization, and disadvantage of commercialization. So if you are having any difficulties like that, just don't hesitate to replay the video, and some questions will be displayed on the screen. You will to attempt such questions. Thank you.